If the Milky Way was Earth-sized, human civilization would be smaller than bacteria, clinging to one invisible speck, in a galaxy that does not notice we exist. If the Milky Way was a country, where do we live? You live in a country, but you have no idea where. And when I show you exactly where your address is in the cosmic neighborhood, you are going to feel something between awe and absolute terror. Because we are not in the capital. We are not in the suburbs. We are not even in a place most people would consider important. And by the end of this video, you are going to realize we are cosmically, catastrophically lucky to be alive. Let's find out where you live. Imagine the Milky Way, our galaxy, as a country. Not a metaphor, not a thought experiment, a real country with borders, with regions, with cities and towns and dangerous areas you do not visit after dark. The Milky Way is about 100,000 light years across. That's the diameter edge to edge. Now 100,000 light years is incomprehensible, so let's shrink it. Let's say the Milky Way is 1,000 kilometers wide. A country you could drive across coast to coast in about 10 hours. That's our scale. 1,000 kilometers equals 100,000 light years, which means every 1 kilometer in our model equals 100 light years in reality. Got it good. Now let's build the map. Because this country, this galactic nation we call home, is not what you think it is. Every country has a capital, a center of power, the heart of everything. In the Milky Way, that capital is called Sagittarius, a star. It's not a city made of buildings. It's a supermassive black hole, sitting dead center about 4 million times the mass of the sun. And it's active. It's not some dormant monument, it's a gravitational engine pulling in gas dust and anything that drifts too close. At our scale, where the Milky Way is 1,000 kilometers across the capital city, Sagittarius, a star sits right in the middle 500 kilometers from any edge. And here's the thing, nobody lives there. You can't live there. Because the closer you get to the center of the galaxy, the more violent everything becomes. Stars are packed together thousands of times more densely than where we live. Radiation storms scream through space, supernovae explode constantly. The black holes, gravity twists space-time itself. It's not a place you visit. It's a place you survive for as little time as possible. But it's beautiful. From a distance, the galactic center would look like a massive, shining jewel, a diamond in the dark. But get too close, you're gone. Now radiating out from the capital, there's a region we'll call the inner ring. This is roughly 3,000 to 10,000 light years from the galactic center. At our scale, that's about 30 to 100 kilometers from the middle of the country. This is the industrial zone. Dense, crowded, dangerous. Stars here are packed together like cars in rush hour traffic. You've got massive, star-forming regions where new suns are being born by the thousands. Supernova remnants where old stars exploded and left radioactive clouds drifting through space. Stellar winds powerful enough to strip atmospheres off planets. Cosmic rays firing through the void like bullets. This is not a safe neighborhood. If Earth were located here, complex life would probably never survive long enough to evolve. Radiation levels would repeatedly damage planetary ecosystems. Nearby supernovae could blast planets with gamma rays. And the gravitational chaos from all those nearby stars could destabilize planetary orbits. You do not want to live here. This is the factory district, loud, hot, deadly. Now let's talk about the spiral arms. The Milky Way isn't a perfect disk. It has enormous arms, massive curved structures made of gas dust and billions of stars that sweep outward from the center like a cosmic pinwheel. We have several major spiral arms, including Perseus arm, Sagittarius arm, Scutum, Centaurus arm, and the Norma arm. These aren't just pretty patterns. They're highways. They're regions where gas and stars get compressed together as the galaxy rotates. And because of that, they're incredibly active. Massive stars are born, burn hot and fast, and explode after only a few million years. It's like living next to an interstate where trucks are constantly speeding past, crashing and exploding. Exciting, sure safe? Absolutely not. At our 1,000 kilometer country scale, these spiral arms are like massive interstate highways running from the capital out toward the edges. Wide, crowded, high traffic. And if your solar system sits directly inside one, you are constantly exposed. to nearby supernova explosions, powerful stellar radiation, gravitational disruptions from passing star clusters. Again, not great for life. You want to be near the action, not inside it. So where does Earth live? Where is our address? We live about 26,000 light years from the galactic center. At our 1,000 kilometer scale, that's about 260 kilometers from the capital. Not in the inner ring, not on the outer edge, right in the middle of what astronomers call the Galactic Habitable zone. But here's the kicker. We don't live inside one of the major spiral arms. We live between them. Specifically, we're inside a small structure called the Orion Spur, sometimes called the Orion Arm. It's not a full spiral arm, it's more like a side branch, a service road off the main highway. At our country scale, we live in the outer suburbs, quiet, calm, safe. Think of it like this. The galactic center is Manhattan. The inner ring is an industrial megacity packed with factories and chaos. The spiral arms are giant interstate highways full of traffic and explosions. And we live in a quiet town off exit 47. Population, 1 star system. Nobody comes here. Nobody even notices we're here. And that's exactly why life exists. Here's the thing people don't realize. Location in a galaxy determines whether life is even possible. You can't just drop a planet anywhere and expect civilization to happen. You need the right conditions. And our location, 260 kilometers from the capital, tucked away between spiral arms, is almost perfect. Here's why. We're far enough from the galactic center to avoid extreme radiation. The galactic core is a cosmic danger zone. Supernovae, black holes, intense radiation. If we were significantly closer to the center complex, life on Earth might never have survived long enough to evolve. We're between spiral arms, so nearby supernovae are relatively rare. Spiral arms are stellar nurseries. Massive stars are constantly being born there, and massive stars die violently. If Earth were deep inside a major spiral arm nearby, supernovae could hit us much more frequently over geological timescales. But here between the arms, space is quieter, calmer, safer. We're in a relatively stable orbital neighborhood, no dense star clusters nearby, no constant gravitational chaos. Our sun peacefully orbits the galaxy once every 225 to 250 million years. Slow, stable, predictable. And in space, predictable means alive. Let's be clear. Most places in the galaxy are terrible for life. If you picked a random star system in the Milky Way, odds are it's too close to the galactic center and exposed to dangerous radiation. It's inside a crowded spiral arm with frequent nearby supernovae. It's in a dense star cluster where planetary systems become unstable. Or it's too far out in the galactic outskirts, where there aren't enough heavy elements to form rocky planets easily. The Galactic Habitable zone, the region where complex life is most likely to survive long term, is a relatively narrow ring, roughly 20,000 to 30,000 light years from the galactic center. At our scale, that's a ring about 200 to 300 kilometers from the middle of the country. That's it. That's the sweet spot. And even inside that zone, you still need luck. A quiet neighborhood, a stable star, a calm orbit. We won the cosmic lottery. Not because we're special, but because our address happened to be in the right place. Let's play a game. What if Earth wasn't in the outer suburbs? What if we lived somewhere else in the Milky Way? If we lived near the galactic center, dead. Radiation levels would be extreme. Nearby stellar explosions would constantly threaten planetary life. The gravitational environment would be chaotic. No stable environment for billions of years. No civilization, no us. If we lived directly inside a major spiral arm, life might survive for a while, but eventually a nearby supernova could devastate Earth's atmosphere. Mass extinctions would become much more common. Complex life would struggle to evolve uninterrupted for billions of years. If we lived in the far outer galaxy, we'd be safer from radiation and supernovae, but there would be fewer heavy elements available for rocky planets and complex chemistry. No carbon-rich worlds, no Earth-like planet, no you. Here's the beautiful part. Because we live where we do 260 kilometers from the capital tucked inside a quiet spur, we get the perfect view. On a dark night, when you look up at the Milky Way stretching across the sky, you're seeing the galaxy edge on, You're looking inward, toward the center, toward the spiral arms, toward the glowing core, that faint river of light across the night sky. That's not just stars. That's the highway system. That's the industrial zone. That's the capital city. All of it burning quietly in the dark, and you sitting in your calm little suburb at the edge of nowhere get to watch it all from a safe distance. So here's the final map. If the Milky Way were a 1,000-kilometer country, the capital galactic center 500 kilometers from any edge, a supermassive black hole, beautiful, deadly a void. The inner ring 3,000 to 10,000 light years, 30 to 100 kilometers from center, crowded, violent, high radiation, dangerous. The spiral arms, massive interstate highways, star formation, supernovae chaos. The galactic habitable zone, 20,000 to 30,000 light years, 200 to 300 kilometers from center or quiet suburbs, stable, safe enough for life. Earth's location, 26,000 light years, 260 kilometers from center Orion Spur, a side road in the cosmic suburbs, population 1-star system. We don't live in the capital. We don't live on the highway. We live in the quiet part of town, where almost nothing happens. And that's exactly why you're alive to hear this. So what does this mean? It means your existence is the result of a cosmic accident, a lucky roll of the dice, a star system that formed in exactly the right place, far enough from danger to survive, close enough to the action to contain heavy elements, stable enough to let life evolve for billions of years. You are not the center of the galaxy. You are not the center of the universe. You live in the boring, forgettable suburbs, and that is the only reason you exist. Next time you look at the Milky Way, that glowing band stretching across the sky, remember, you're looking at the highways. You're looking at the city. You're looking at all the places you absolutely would not want to live. And you, sitting in your quiet little corner of the galaxy, are exactly where you need to be. If this changed how you see your place in the universe, send it to someone before tomorrow's upload. And if you want another cosmic perspective that completely destroys your sense of scale, tomorrow subscribe now, because we're just getting started.